Before we get started, there's a couple things I just want to say. Number one, I'm super excited about the opportunity. I'm thankful to Coach Tomlin, the Rooney family, Omar, anybody involved in this decision to give me an opportunity. Super excited about it. That's the first thing I want to say. Second thing, Matt Campbell is a friend of mine. Like, we're friends. I care about his well-being. I care about his family. Our wives are friends. Our parents are friends. Our kids are friends. We spend a lot of time together. Love the dude. I couldn't say enough good about Matt Campbell. And so it's a little bit bittersweet in that way because when you sit back and you see all that goes on and all that's being said about him and the offense, we all, and I'm speaking for the offense when I say this, the staff, we all felt that. We're all part of that. And so nobody's absolving themselves from anything that's happened in that regard. Like, we feel like we let him down. And so I got to say that because that's what a real one would do. You know what I mean? And that's a friend of mine, and that's not going to change. So I got to get that off. And then the third thing is, I feel a little bit sorry for y'all because now you got two light-skinned brothers playing as coordinators, and y'all got to get them pictures right. Because my wife's going back and forth with TA's wife talking about, oh, I guess your husband's my husband today, and so on and so forth. So y'all get that right so we can stop having them conversations. But I wanted to say those things, man, just to get it out in the open. But Matt's my guy, and that ain't going to change just because, we fell on some rough times, and I stand by that.
What kind of imprint would you like to put on this offense?
I think one thing Coach said in his press conference about why I was put in this position is my communication ability with people. That's always been something that's come natural to me, something I enjoy doing. I think anybody who's played with me in the past would tell you that Coach Faulk's a good dude, a good guy to play for, and I'm thankful really for the fact that Coach noticed that in my time. It feels like time well spent since I've been here in Pittsburgh, and so that's super exciting to know that, and it just gives you confidence moving forward on and being in front of the group.
Eddie, what does this opportunity mean for you on a personal level?
It's awesome, you know what I mean? But the way this all happened, like, there's no time to even get caught up in any of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to play the Bengals, like, in a couple days. And that was it. That was my sole focus. There was really no, like, oh, this could segue into this or that. This was all about getting ready for the Bengals, and that's been my only focus, I promise you.
What's the dynamic going to be like between you and Sully on game days? Will you guys be in communication?
Absolutely. Like, when I talked to the guys the other day, one of the first things I said to them about good teamwork is communication. I don't care if you're talking about it within your family. You got to communicate. And that's player to player, coach to player, coach to coach. And so he and I are going to work real hard to be in lockstep with each other. I know in game day, any play caller wants to be able to be narrowly focused on what he needs to do, and I'm not going to interfere with that. But at the same time, we're going to have enough conversations and tee ourselves up as well as we can. So when we go into that game atmosphere, we're all on the same page when the chips start to kind of fall out from there.
What about during the week? How do you what are your responsibilities? What will you kind of do day to day?
So day to day, I'm organizing everything. We're having all the meetings. I'm running the meetings. Everything, I think Coach mapped it out. Like, everything that a coordinator would do, that's what I've been entrusted to do outside of pushing the button to talk to Kenny's helmet.
How did the way that you're organizing things? How much of that was a foundation that you made using the running back rooms? You said you really liked how you were using the room and running the room. How much of what you're doing now did you start there?
Well, just me in general. I'm a real detail guy. That's how I operate. Like, I'm probably on the spectrum somewhere. But, like, in all seriousness, that's how I have to operate. And that's how I operated the running back room. So that's how I'm operating anything that has to do with the offense or with our staff. To make sure we're squeezing down, we're tightening it up, we're closing all the space. So we go into a game and these guys can execute and play fast. That's the focus. And I feel like I can bring something to the table in that regard.
On game day, where will you guys physically be?
I'll be right there close to Sully. You know what I mean? And like I said, he's going to want to be locked into the game and seeing what he's seeing and dialing the plays up. And I don't want to interfere with that. I know I wouldn't want that to be the case for me. And so we'll be right there next to each other, and we'll have conversations in between series to map a plan forward for that next series, and we'll roll.
So on the sideline, just to be clear.
Absolutely, yes.
Eddie, for the guys that may not have been in your room, what did you tell them about how you're going to lead and what they can expect from you as offense?
I want them to be myself. What they're going to get is, I feel like if you get around a bunch of different good, capable men, all right, you empower them to do their job. And we got a bunch of really good coaches, like all across the board. We got guys kind of in our auxiliary staff on offense who've been coordinators for a long time. why wouldn't you use all of those resources? And that's what I'm doing. And so I told the guys that's what we're going to do. And I talked to them about communicating with each other. Like, it all comes back down to communicating. How can we funnel our energies to communicate with each other to produce a better product? That's it. And that's where my main focus is going to be, to make sure we're in lockstep and guys are coordinated that way.
How do you change? How do you improve without disrupting and throwing too much new into the mix with only 7 games?
You know, like, what I'm really focusing on, going back to the detailed conversation, is trying to take all the space out of it. So maybe there's been some tweaks in meeting schedules amongst coaches or players and things like that, just, you know, as we see fit. And we also got to be really able to adjust with all those kind of things, in the sense that times change. Like, this is Thanksgiving weekend, for example. You know what I mean? And so the dynamics of the meetings and things like that may change, but we can't lose what we're trying to achieve out there on the field. So that's the main thing that I think I'm bringing to the table, is just an organizational piece to try to make sure we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's.
But no big picture tactical changes for the last
No, you can't. You know what I mean? Like, here we are in the middle of the season. You know what I mean? You got to roll with what we've been doing, putting game plans together, what our guys can execute. We're going to continue to do that.
When you talk about your friendship with Matt, who do you think, other than him, in your career, either as a player or as a coach, have you taken things from? Have you learned things from? Who's kind of been those guys for you?
I have several. You know what I mean? And it'd be one of those situations, if I start naming them, where I'm like, dang, I forgot to say such and such. But if any of them are watching this, they know who they are, and I'm thankful for them as well, because, you know, along this ride, I wouldn't be in this position without them.
You got into coaching pretty young, right after your career. Did you always know that was something you wanted to do?
I did. You know, I'm a son of an educator with my parents, of my mother, and I always kind of took, you know, liking to being able to affect lives and doing that. You know, there was probably a point in my career where if you would have asked me if I wanted to coach in the league, I probably would have said no, because I felt like there was such an impact you could make with younger guys in the college level. And I quickly found out that you can make the probably a bigger impact with professional athletes. And so for me, you know, that's always been the deal, being able to affect lives, being involved with those guys, and then football would be a byproduct of developing that.
What has worked so well in the running game in recent weeks, and how do you augment that with the passing game?
You know, it's hard to really quantify and say, because we come in every day to go to work. You know what I mean? Like, we're chipping away every day and how we can get better. And that might be a tweak in a meeting. That might be a tweak in a scheme or a blocking scheme, or we're going to block the techniques that they're playing up front. It's going to require us to block something this way. And so we're just trying to get really, really detailed, keep the guys together, let them talk to each other on what they're seeing, and then trust in what we see when we go out there and go in to execute. And so that's going to always continue to kind of be the theme throughout.
Last two.
Eddie, how would you describe your relationship with Kenny? Does it need to sort of evolve here over the next couple of years?
Well, I think we have a good relationship, but, you know, it's the dynamics of it have changed, obviously, because of the role that I'm in. But I don't plan on doing anything crazy, in the sense of, okay, all of a sudden now you listening to me. Like, Kenny and Sully got a great relationship. That's why Kenny's in the role he's in, and they'll continue that relationship. And then obviously in decision-making types of circumstances, I'll be involved in that, because that's my job title now.
Eddie, you mentioned you know, having a couple of light-skinned guys as coordinators, but there aren't a lot of, you know, minority offensive coordinators in this league. I know that you're trying to stay in the moment, but do you think that this is, you know, something that it's impactful?
I mean, I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't think it was a blessing. I totally understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm at the point in my career where I totally understand the opportunity that's there. But at the same time, it's not clouding what the task at hand is. The task at hand is beating Cincinnati, period. And I'm not caught in that.
And Mike said he wants more points and he wants to engineer victory more fluidly. Like you said, you were a part of Matt's staff, and it hasn't happened to this point. So my question is, how do you envision that happening the rest of the season?
I'm going to empower the guys around us. I'm going to have lots of conversations with them. We're going to dot our I's and cross our T's the best we can, in the hope that we go out there and put a good product out there to execute and score points, like you said. And if it doesn't turn out like we want, we get back in the lab the next week and we do the same thing. And we just keep on trying to tweak the product until it's what we desire. And to be honest with you, I don't know if it ever get to where you desire, because you always seeking excellence. And that's where we're at.
If I can ask this, do you envision keeping the Najee, Jalen split share workload the same going forward?
We need both them guys to win. You know what I mean? Like, it's really that simple to me. And so that's what we'll continue to do.
All right, thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.